First, let's start with the history of Chi Nei Tsang.
Mm-hmm.
Chi Nei Tsang basically it's a modality, it's a healing modality that's been brought to the West by Master Mantak Chia. And it is rooted actually in three roots, actually, three different areas. One is classical Chinese medicine that's coming from Taoism.
Mm-hmm.
It's the further back origin of Chi Nei Tsang is use the philosophy of the Taoism, the Tao,
Mm-hmm.
which goes like pre-existing before Chinese prehistory, so very old, ancient wisdom that has been carried through the centuries.
Yeah.
Another roots extends into we call internal medical massage from Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
A Thai internal medical massage, which is unfortunately disappearing because the young population now doesn't really want to learn it.
I'm sorry.
The young population
Mm-hmm.
of Thailand
Mm-hmm.
right now, the youth,
Yeah.
are not really interested in learning the old ways, the old wisdom, and only a handful of very old healers are able to really heal with their hands at the metabolic level. So now what's popular in Thailand is so-called Thai massage,
Right.
is the external massage.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it's for the spas, very popular because they make a lot of money, of course. It's very easy because you don't need to know much about medicine and health. You just need to touch people in a way that makes them feel good.
Right.
So, yeah, and relaxing, which is good, of course. You get a lot of benefits out of Thai massage. Stretching and massaging stress out of muscles and tissues is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
But the internal aspect is missing. And that's what makes actually one big root of Chi Nei Tsang.
Right.
And the third root of Chi Nei Tsang is actually Western, is a true understanding of a holistic approach of medicine, meaning that learning to work with the body and not against it, with especially giving up in that very too common approach, allopathic approach of thinking that nature is wrong and needs to be fixed. That doesn't work really. That's what actually creates the need for so-called alternate approach to medicine, because allopathic medicine really is in my opinion, a very wrongful approach. It's very it could be it has been very damaging, to working against the body often instead of working with it.
What kind of
trying to,
I'm sorry. What kind of damage do you mean when you say that allopathic medicine is damaging?
Or even in massage, so-called massage therapy, just the intention of approaching the body, touching someone else's body with the intention of fixing it or repairing it is actually insulting. From a holistic approach to medicine, when the body gets sick, it's not because it's something wrong. It's actually because it's carrying a message that something in the life of that person is going wrong and needs to be changed, needs to be addressed.
Oh, okay.
So a true healing approach to a disease doesn't work on the disease; it works on the person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the same way that homeopathy works, when it's understood properly, of course.
Right.
And the way that massage therapy should be working, if in the approach is a true approach to autism, rather than trying to fix something that presumably is wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the classical approach to medicine from Taoism, that's very well understood that the nature doesn't need to be fixed. We are the product of millions of years of evolution, and we are, quote unquote, perfect. So when something goes wrong, quote unquote, in terms of health, is because it is carrying a message that we need to evolve out of the conditions that we probably put ourselves and brought suffering in our existence. So it's an attempt to bring ourselves into a path of serving our life purpose, a true life purpose, that our health guides us through making us suffer, yes, sometimes, because the need to change comes with the need to heal.
Right.
And as I always say, everyone wants to heal, but no one wants to change, and that's not possible.
Right.
From the holistic approach, the reason why you're sick is because you need to change, and then if you change, which is the true Taoist goal, is following the law of change, which is the law of I Ching all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Then you don't need to get sick, and you don't even need to die. Because when we die, it's because we need to change tremendously. And of course, when we die, we change.
Right. The biggest change, yeah.
So all that, stories about Taoist immortals, it's actually very well understood in that perspective.
Uh-huh.
A so-called immortal is someone that reached wisdom to a place where he's able to establish changes before they need to get sick, to get those changes.
Oh,
so
right.
You never get sick, and never die.
Never get sick or die. All right. Speaking of sickness, what are some of the ailments that you've had good results with healing with Chi Nei Tsang?
Well, to give you a more wide spectrum response, I really believe that there is no illnesses that don't respond well to Chi Nei Tsang, really. Because, number one, we don't work with illness. So we don't address illness directly. Mm-hmm. So the body feels safe about that. And we don't heal illness. I mean, grammatically, healing illness would be a big mistake. To heal a illness would mean grammatically to make the illness stronger. We don't want to do that.
No.
We want to make the person who has a illness to be stronger. So we heal people, not diseases.
Right.
Disease like so-called terminal disease from allopathic perspective, like a certain form of cancer and all that, you don't want to heal them because if you heal that cancer gets strong. No, you heal the person who has that form of cancer.
Right.
You don't address really the cancer. You address the overall health of that person. And when that person gets healthier, then the cancer disappears. Yeah. So it's actually at the same time a easier approach to medicine, a gentler, much gentler approach. There's never emergency, especially when there is emergency. It's about taking time to make the person get stronger instead of surrendering to weaknesses.
Right. Is it also as gentle and effective when the person comes to you with something that's either not yet a physical symptom or something that is it only contained to physical symptoms? No.
So-called physical symptoms in Chinese medicine in general, they don't make really a difference between so-called mental, emotional, or physical. And it's all the same.
Right.
From a holistic perspective, we know that the body is as good as can be, and when it manifests a pain somewhere in the body, and we know even from the allopathic approach that the pain doesn't come from a lesion in the body or something's quote-unquote wrong. In order to have pain, your nervous system has to make a loop through the brain for interpretation. There is no lesion in the body that can be manifest the pain if it's not translated into something. And it's that translation that connects any kind of so-called disease, physical disease, to a emotional condition, emotional profile, or emotional charges that we carry in the body that's translated at the mental level.
Okay.
So we can't really separate them.
I see.
There is no really so-called disease without a emotional charge attached to them.
Right. Okay. Gilles, is a Chi Nei Tsang class limited to people already involved in the healing arts?
I wish it would. But no, of course not. But yes, in a way it is because the people that are the most proficient in the art of Chi Nei Tsang are the people that heal themselves. So they are involved.
Right.
Because you're involved in working on your own health. But you don't need to be a certified medical doctor or need to be a chiropractor or have a title, actually. This would be the reverse. I'd rather work with people that don't have so much knowledge in allopathic approach to medicine, and that way it becomes so natural to learn. Actually, children are really good at learning Chi Nei Tsang because for them it's natural. They wouldn't understand how we could have a different approach to health.
Right. They don't have all the blocks that we've already learned.
They don't have all the blocks and conditioning. Yeah.
Yeah. How can it expand the practice of those who do already work, who already have a title in the healing arts? Acupuncturists or chiropractors or medical doctors even, or massage therapists?
When you work with more like Asian approach to medicine, like Chinese medicine, acupuncture, tuina, shiatsu, they have already a tradition of a holistic approach to medicine. The allopathic medicine is much more recent for them. So the way of thinking about health usually is healthier because they have an extended use of finding health through diet already and herbs and using natural ways to get healthy before they search for something more drastic. Now, of course, there is, with the appraising of chemical drugs and especially antibiotics, of course, that's starting to invade the markets, and it's cheaper to use it, mass produce and all that. Of course, it's starting to be more abuse on that direction, even in Asia. But people practicing acupuncture, people practicing the use of herbs, usually have it's easier for them to understand the true holistic approach to health.
Right.
And people that have been formed like as a physical therapist, for example, chiropractors, coming more from an attempt to fix a body, with allopathic approach, allopathic way of thinking.
Right.
It's a completely different paradigm. I really think that we can't really mix both.
So
you can't really heal a person by trying to fix them.
True. Yeah. So how does it interact then? If somebody's in the middle of a conventional treatment, say for cancer, if they're going for chemotherapy, can Chi Nei Tsang do anything?
I never tell them. No, of course you cannot tell, especially cancer client not to take the medicine. Number one, is against the law. Number two, it's not even ethical.
Right.
They have to take charge of their health, basically, and that's why Chi Nei Tsang is important there, because, of course, the side effects of drugs, like chemotherapy, are very devastating. They need to have something else as the treatment to bring back the health, bring back the power, bring back energy and the mind and their spirit. So that's how I really help them. Okay. And eventually they're able to guide their doctors and their practitioners to work with allopathic drugs in a way that are more beneficial to them. And usually that means taking the time, slowing down the treatment as they see the body getting better. When the tumors start to disappear, instead of raising the level of drugs, because that's, the reflex of allopathic doctor. When you see you getting better, they raise the drug to make the drug work even better. And that can be extremely devastating, very bad side effects and sometimes kill the people. Right. So if you want to avoid that, you need to have a open communication, with the doctors, which is easy to do in California because there is laws that protects practitioners and allows doctors to work with alternative approach to medicine. And there is a bill that allows that. There's a few other states, like Minnesota, also in the United States, allows that to happen. But in other states, the clients and the patient have to take charge, basically. And that's the important thing, is to give them all the information that's needed to help them getting better and stronger instead of weaker, and succumb to the treatment and the disease at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
You mentioned.
So it's about giving information. Basically, a big work about Chi Nei Tsang is to show people that yes, it is possible to heal, and how it is possible, and combining treatments with meditations, with mental work. Actually, a big work I do with my clients to make them their own specialists in their particular case, because every case is different. Not all symptoms attack people the same way, and people have to become, more conscious about what they deal with, with their health, so they can take the right decision when it comes to a choice of treatment, approach of even allopathic approach to treatment. They have to take the responsibility of making choice.
Yeah, I like that phrase. They have to become their specialist in their own health.
Yeah, give them more power and more energy for them.
Yeah,
and that can really help. That makes a big difference in treatment.
Yeah. So you've mentioned a couple of times taking charge of their own health, and you said something a little bit ago about diet. So of course there's a relationship to food involved in healing. And do you subscribe to, or do you teach any one school of thought around food, around diet?
No, actually, I really believe that diet is something extremely personal. And again, the only way people can really get better with their diet is by studying themselves.
Right.
What makes them stronger, what makes them weaker, and especially when you have a disease, you have to adopt a diet that's going to make you systematically stronger and not weaker.
Right.
So you have to study, basically. Mental work is part of the healing process.
Right. Yeah. So you're going to be teaching a class in Crestone, Colorado, in August. And I'm wondering what people can expect to learn in your Fundamentals of Chi Nei Tsang workshop.
They're going to learn many good things.
I agree.
At the same time, simple and sophisticated. First thing I need to teach people when they touch is to touch with the right intention, with the right attitude, touching with respect, and learning the true holistic approach to healing. So especially not to touch with the intention of fixing, which is very insulting for the emotional body, who is doing the best he can to protect the person, from suffering.
Right.
So really is to learn to touch with the respect needed for each client, so they can learn about themselves. Healing really happens only from within a person.
Right.
See, the person bring the disease in from one way or the other, and only that healing is going to come from within, from the same place, actually, that the disease is coming from. The disease allows certain infection to appear, allows certain tumors develop, or allow the bacteria or virus to take place. The body has all the capacities to reverse that. Yes, so we have to work with that. So the whole teaching of the fundamental of Chi Nei Tsang is to understand really a true holistic approach, and to be able to use a touch as truly healing. So to be truly healing, it requires the raising of what we call energy, called Chi in Chinese medicine. That's what they use in acupuncture, and they use also in martial arts to create damage, and same kind of power, same energy. And that's why we do what we call the Qigong. And for me, Chi Nei Tsang is applied Qigong, meaning that you raise the energy, you never use your personal energy, because that's your personal health that you don't want to compromise. You learn to raise a little more energy in your body that you use specifically for touching for health. And that allows the person that receives the treatment to have a raising of that energy in their body, and that is a support system for the body to cope with whatever suffering is going through. And then, of course, that a raise of energy stimulates what I call the five intelligences in the body that make them start to work together towards healing. Because I really believe that most of disease come out of internal conflicts that we have at the emotional and mental levels. And also not being able to fulfill life purpose correctly, not be able to enjoy life properly. So we need to raise consciousness in a person in a way that's very efficient and very direct, without needing to criticize the person, without needing to fix anything, but by showing actually the person that the reason why the person is sick is actually might be a healthy reaction. It's actually a healthy reaction to an unhealthy situation. So it wouldn't be healthy for a person with a certain condition not to get sick as a reaction. Right. So the person needs to come out of the condition that brought the sickness in order to recover. And that could be a situational condition, like a relationship, could be a work condition, it could be living conditions. To me, it's more like a hygiene of life that needs to be taken care of.
Right, and you're never directing or people who are conducting a Chi Nei Tsang session are never suggesting any of these things.
No, but they have to suggest the possibilities and really point accurately in what direction the person could look for.
Oh, okay.
We never tell people you have to change your job or you change your mate or change. No, but you need to improve your life in that direction. So, what are the possibilities? What would be required to do that? And how does it feel just to think about it? How do you feel about this? And usually, you make a very accurate connection with a symptom, and you have a body response to that, very visceral. You can't miss, really.
Yeah. No, it's true. I after my very first Chi Nei Tsang class, which was a fundamentals class, but it wasn't taught by you. It was taught by one of your assistants. But immediately after, like within a few days, I was visiting one of my brothers, and he's been in pain for 20 years with a stress fracture in his spine. And he let me, So he let me do a Chi Nei Tsang session on him. And he told me later that he only let me do it because I was so excited, and he was like, just...
Yes.
But he didn't believe in it. He was really skeptical. And then he came up to me...
He was doing it for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he came up to me a few hours later, and he said, Elle, I don't even know. He said, this is the first time in 20 years I haven't been in pain. I was, I was really blown away. I mean, this was after such a minimal amount of learning. And I mean, I've really always wondered about that, like, that it worked so fast coming through me. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like results like that come for people after years of training in this or that.
No, you don't need to. All you need is precision. And precision usually takes only a very small detail that makes a big difference. Especially if you're addressing the body correctly. You're addressing the emotional body, you're addressing the mental body, as well as the physical body. So, the person is treated in all directions at the same time, and there's a feeling of satisfaction that comes out of that. So that usually is so big, because a symptom, again, is a little voice that keeps repeating, nagging ourselves, of something very precise. But we don't want to hear because it's painful.
Right.
So we try to reject it. We try to take painkillers. We don't want to hear it. And then when someone else is able to point the finger in that very place and in a way that's sufficiently diplomatic, or sufficiently respectful, then we accept it. Oh, yeah, that's true. I feel that way. And most of the time, that's all it takes to get rid of big pains.
Right. Yeah. Being able to address it without having to be afraid of it, just being able to.
Or to fight it.
Right.
Fighting yourself, or
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's been amazing to me as I've been working with this with Chi Nei Tsang. Sometimes I'll get frustrated when I feel like, this isn't working. And then I start to hear your voice, actually. My favorite, though, is when I'll hear, there's a reason for everything, and it's a good one. And whenever...
Very good.
and always when I get that realization again, the whatever it is that's stuck, whether it's in me or the person that I'm working with, it always moves. There's always this relief.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's really amazing.
Yeah, because you're working with the person, you're working with the body, not against it.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a big difference.
Right, and not saying I know better.
No, exactly.
For your body, yeah.
Yeah. Just you touching, by the touch is a question. How do you feel there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you feel that way there. So it's also validating. And so it goes much deeper than actually any kind of deep surgery, because even when surgery is needed, the body refuses it. I mean, it's too aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So the surgery, even when needed, still going to need healing after.
Right.
Yeah, even if, you get rid of whatever, quote unquote, creates a discomfort or creates the disease, just to have the body treated violently needs healing.
Right.
Because without that, the scar is going to form, or the pain might remain there.
Mm-hmm.
And Chi Nei Tsang is very good, for even to prepare the first people for surgery.
Yeah.
So the body knows what's healthy, what's not healthy,
Mm-hmm.
what kind of tissue is going to have to go, what tissue is staying in,
mm-hmm.
and also to recover.
Mm-hmm.
People recover much faster and much easier with the treatment, with Chi Nei Tsang treatment after surgery.
Yeah, I recently worked with a woman who was getting a huge fibroid removed. I mean, it was bigger than a grapefruit. And her surgeon had thought that she was going to it was going to be a much more difficult operation.
Mm-hmm.
And we did a Chi Nei Tsang session before. I think we may have done a couple, but I think it was just one the night before. And the surgeon asked the woman I was working with, "What did you do? Because this came out of your body so easily." Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have those reflections all the time. How come? Even sometimes people go to the operation room, they don't even need surgery. The clients like that with the prolapsed bladder, she had taken an appointment for surgery, and I did a manipulation, and the bladder went up almost by itself. It was so easy.
Wow.
And when she went for the surgery, of course, she told the doctor, I have an appointment, but I don't want a surgery. Please take another X-ray because I'm sure he's back in place. Mm-hmm. And I mean, she had to fight for it because the doctor wouldn't want. No, you schedule, you have to go. But finally, she convinced them to get another X-ray, and then they realized, the bladder was back in place. For them, it was like a miracle.
Yeah.
It's never heard of that.
Yeah.
But actually, it's so simple,
Yeah.
It takes basically to work with the body to to reverse the condition that makes such thing happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Gilles, right now, a lot of people are we're in a painful time as a society.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Yeah. And
I need a lot of healing there.
Yeah, exactly. And a lot of people right now, they feel as if they can't even afford a movie right now, let alone a workshop or even one treatment.
Of course.
How can Chi Nei Tsang help society move through this painful moment?
I really believe this is one of the best things. It's like in this time in history, you cannot invest in anything. There's no money. Everything has lost its value, or the value is artificial. Mm-hmm. You can count on it for the future because it can collapse at any time. So the only thing you can really invest in is yourself, in your health, in your education, whatever you learn for yourself, you're never going to lose it. It's not going to lose value.
Right.
It's always going to increase it.
Right.
And not only that, but what you learn for yourself, you can apply on anyone else.
Right.
So, doesn't matter. Chi Nei Tsang class, doesn't matter if people think how expensive it is. It's much cheaper than any kind of medical intervention.
It's true. It's true.
And it's so much easier, and it's less painful, and people are spending so much money in intervention that's actually not really needed, in drugs not really needed, if they knew what to do with themselves.
Right.
Sometimes what requires a little change in their lifestyle, in their behavior, in their diet, and working on massaging the abdomen in certain ways, and all this pain disappear.
Yeah.
But that's foreign to the allopathic approach to medicine. So that's why it's very important to transmit that paradigm of different way of thinking about healing. Healing is natural. It's not something we need to do artificially or to apply artificially on people. All it takes most of the time is taking the time to go through a healing process, changing the condition that what creates, discomfort and pain.
Right.
And that works, and usually it doesn't cost much. How much does it cost to meditate?
Right.
How much does it cost to change your diet? You have to buy food anyway.
Right.
Well, you might as well buy good food.
Right.
And if you invest in good quality food, you're actually saving money because you buy less. You eat less.
It's true.
You need to be, because you're more satisfied.
Right.
When people are not satisfied, there's no end to spending.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Always filling a hole.
Yeah, always compensating. You don't eat enough, so you buy a new car. What kind of saving is that?
Right.
You save on your food, and you waste the money on the brand new car that loses half its value the first week. It's crazy.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, Gilles, there's so much really incredible and useful information in your books and in all the classes of yours that I've taken. What would you say is one thing out of everything you teach? Is there any one thing that you hope every student comes away from a class knowing or feeling? Something that you'd like them all to come with?
Yes. Especially, the first day of teaching is really to tell people that whatever disease they have also the power to heal from it.
Yes.
And that's a very important knowledge. The next one is how to do that. It's actually very simple. If you need to raise your life force, and it doesn't take that much. All it takes is to step out of the habits, the bad habits that you have that reduce your life force.
Right.
Again, it's about hygiene. People that watch a little TV for a little too long, they get weak. You eat a little too much sugar, you get weak. All you need to get out of that is to do something to compensate and to overcome, eventually to make you change in a way that you get stronger all the time instead of getting weaker. And one of the exercises is so simple. It's called sunning. You know that one.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said. What?
Sunning.
Oh,
you
sunning.
Go to the sun,
yeah, absolutely.
Close your eyes, and you let becoming calmer and calmer and calmer. So you make your life calmer every day, and you become more efficient. You go slower, so you're in less danger, and you enjoy life. You take the time to enjoy life.
Yeah.
As soon as you start to enjoy life, your health improves.
It's true. It's really true. I'd like for you to clarify sunning. I know what that word means, and you know what that word means.
Yeah, sunning is not enough to be out in the sun. It's to develop your relationship with light, actually, which is what gives a life force in all living being. The life comes out of the sun, really out of the light. And it's the power we call yang power in Chinese medicine. Is the power that allows life to happen, and that power is the gentle power. It's the power of gentleness. When people start to lose that power, that's when they become violent. because they feel like they need to prove that they are strong, and they feel that weakness inside of them that make them want to go a little too fast, a little to strike a little too strong, and that becomes violence.
Right.
Non-violence doesn't mean you don't have any power, you don't have any force. No, non-violence means you use your power properly. You don't abuse it.
Right.
And for that, you need to develop a sense of calm in yourself.
Right.
And this becomes very natural after just 3 minutes of doing that exercise.
Yes.
Little by little. 3 minutes, you're facing the sun. You close your eyes, of course, because you don't want to get burned. You take your glasses off, and you let your eyes to get accustomed to the light. So you relax little by little. You start with the lower sun, with the lower light first. You don't get, you don't feel uncomfortable. And little by little, make yourself enjoy the light, enjoy the warmth getting to your nervous system, to your eyes, to your brain, and you feel basically the natural rays of serotonin in your body. And with the rays of serotonin in your body, you have a full inhibition of the stress response. Because people usually associate power with adrenaline, which is actually the hormone that makes you weaker because you get frantic, of course, and you get weaker. Instead, you need to inhibit the stress response and become more calm, have a better perspective on life, be more precise, really taking your time. And serotonin comes out as soon as you do sunning. So 3 minutes you do, what usually I prescribe people, do 3 minutes 3 times a day, and your life becomes progressively happier. I find that formula with working with depressed people, taking Prozac and all that. And after a few weeks of doing it, they no more need of Prozac, even though it's very addictive kind of drug. People just start to forget to take it, and that's it. And they get better and better.
Yeah, that's a good one to forget.
I never tell people not to take the drugs. They need to take the drugs, until they don't need it any longer.
Right.
And so they usually just start to forget, and they get better and better.
Yeah. No, I can definitely attest to that, the changing power of that simple exercise.
Yeah, and sun is free, It's the right price. Right price for health. If people would do sunning every day, 3 times a day for 1 week, at the end of the week they are happier, and all they need is once a day after that to maintain the serotonin level in their body that makes them happy about life and enjoying what they do.
Right.
Slow down, get calmer, and taking the time to enjoy life. That's what is needed for health.
Yes. Enjoyment.